is projected more towards realtors, but if I have some buyers tuning in, no problem. You'll always learn something on a Lunch and Loan Zoom. This is a weekly high level agent conversation that we have. So that way we can make sure that we're giving you all the tools to be dangerous in this market. I am Natasha Robinson, Loans by Natasha, MLS number 332074. Thank you for joining us today. I have a special guest. And you guys, my guest has been with Guaranteed Rate for so long. He is like, I don't know. I feel like you should have ownership by now, Jim, for all the work that you do.
Right.
And Jim is doing so many things. I'm talking about he actually knows the developers. Like, how many people do you know that work in a department and they actually take time to build relationships, to go to the builder shows and do everything so that way he can learn and talk to these builders to make sure that we're offering something that they want, right? Because everybody has something, but do you want what they have is the question. So I am so honored for Jim to be here today because he not only just works for our company, but he actually is very passionate about our builder program. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I think I'm supposed to click the next slide. As you can see, Jim in his nice looking corporate picture.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, though. I think I need to get that updated. But,
looking good. And yes, he is on our National Builder Program Manager. So everybody always says, you know, what's the difference between GRA? What's the difference between rate? Jim is one of our unique staff members that works for all of our parent families, and he is bringing multiple years of experience. So Jim, I'm going to let you take the wheel, okay? And guys, remember, message for questions. There's no such thing as a bad question. If you don't have any new construction listings or new construction opportunities, get your pen pad, lay it down because we have some gems for you today. And Jim, just let me know if you want to come on, say hello, and let me know when to click next on the slide stack.
Yeah, go right ahead. You can hear me okay, right?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, no, thanks everybody. Thanks, Natasha. I appreciate it. You know, Natasha and I have known each other now for a few years, both at the Guaranteed Rate company. So thanks for that warm welcome. I'm based in the Chicago area. I'm out in the suburbs, northwest suburbs, but otherwise, you know, as Natasha said, I've been in the building space for a long time. I cut my teeth selling homes for a home builder. Didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I did it. And then I ended up getting a chance to work in the, both in the office as kind of running permits and getting to know how to get the architectural plans approved and all that good stuff. And then I helped purchasing, you know, some of the materials and getting involved with the field. And I even went down to the point where I was out servicing some of the homes that we sold and built. And when I was a salesperson, I'd sold the homes, and 2 years later, I was out there servicing them. So I got to see both ends of the spectrum. So jack of all trades, master of none. But one of the things that's been fun about being at Guaranteed Rate companies is getting to build this platform, which helps both, you know, our loan officers figure out how to talk to builders, land builder relationships where we're the preferred lender, but also partnering with the realtor community to make sure we can be able to figure out a way to let you in on how we land the business. So that could be for you becoming a preferred realtor or maybe a realtor liaison, or just quite frankly, more educated about new construction. So if you have a potential buyer and they're interested in new construction, you feel more comfortable about taking them into that, in front of that builder. So you know your stuff. And then of course, engaging Natasha in the case of Guaranteed Rate Affinity, who also knows her stuff. And she does. She's been doing builder for a long time now. So that's both, by the way, when I say builder, we're talking about both, you know, your traditional single family out in the burbs, tract development, to townhomes, to condos, whether that's, you know, 2 flats, 4 units, or high-rise buildings downtown or wherever. So we kind of cover the gamut. Go ahead, Natasha, if you wouldn't mind hitting that next slide. And I'll kind of show you what. Now, some of the stuff I'm going to see, you can go to the next one. That's a rooftop deck, by the way, downtown. If anybody ever come or up to.
Want to join us in our little playtime.
Yeah, that's right. When it's nice out anyway. So I want to show you just a little bit. We're going to cover a couple things today. I want to kind of cover some of the key hot points that builders are looking at right now. So we all know that inventory is still tight overall. I mean, homes are selling okay, but you know, people aren't really moving in a lot of cases because, you know, interest rates were so low for so long and they haven't really come down to the point that they were a few years ago. So people just aren't moving as much. However, now that the market's changing and rates are coming down a little bit, and people are just sick of being in the house they're in currently, or they had a couple kids, or they just want to upgrade or downsize, whatever. We're seeing some additional, the inventory starting to shrink a little bit. However, the builders own this space, right? I mean, one, they want new construction because it's new. Nobody's ever lived in it before. It's fresh. And two, they don't have to replace anything. Two, that's where the inventory is. So we're seeing right now, when you see this little stat here, 1 of 3 homes right now nationwide. And I told you I'm based in Chicago right here, but we're all over the country. We cross, in all 50 states. Today, 1 of every 3 homes sold in the country is new construction, if you believe that. Now, Chicago, it's not quite the same number because, we got a lot of resale, so that's a little bit off. But just give you an idea still how big of a percentage of the business it is. Our GR companies, just to give you an idea, just so we're committed to the space. We closed about $7 billion in builder business last year. Now, it doesn't really mean much in the scheme of things, but just tells you that we're a top 5 lender when it comes to knowing new construction, how to close a loan, how to build a relationship with the builder, and then maybe loop you in as an agent or broker to be part of that relationship. So we get it, is what we're saying there. The outlook for new construction generally, to give you a little viewpoint into kind of the National Association of Home Builders, what they look at, what the rest of the world's looking at, the experts, if you will. It looks stable to bright with expected interest rate improvements coming down the pike and continued strained inventory, just like we talked. So builders are going to control things for a little while longer, right? I mean, they just are. Now, to be fair, new construction is more expensive as a percentage than your typical resale unit. So it does kind of, it's less buyers can afford it than resale. However, what you're seeing, and I'm going to cover this in a couple slides here, is builders are buying rates down. You may have seen this. But builders are buying rates down permanently so that they can bring more people to the door, attract more people. So we're seeing builders buy the rates down to 5.99 when rates are, Natasha, what are rates today? What are they? 6.375, something like that? Depends, of course, right?
One of our nice special home ready programs, or home ready first, yes, but pretty much between that 6.7, 6.99 if there's no
okay. Yeah. Okay, so if you got a rate at 6.9, almost 7%, and the builder says, "Hey, I'm going to buy it down to 5.99," in some cases that just people go, "What? You can get a rate for 5.99?" And so it gets the conversation started. Now the builder pays for that, but they're willing to pay for it, and they build it into their price. Let's be honest, that's what they do. But generally speaking, it's of good value for that builder to be able to get somebody. And by the way, you can get more people qualified, right? So if you've got a borrower, you've got a buyer, we've got a borrower, same person, they maybe qualify. Maybe they qualify to 5.99 rate versus that 6.875, right? And therefore, because their payment's going to be several $100s less a month, and all of a sudden they can afford it. So that's another way builders are trying to get more aggressive with offering more affordable product through these permanent interest rate buy downs. So we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. And that's a good thing for you to know. So if you're out looking at new construction and you see a builder, maybe they're struggling, maybe they got a 6 unit or an 8 unit, or maybe it's just a row of homes that they're trying to sell, and they can't, they're like, "Oh, these things are not selling," and instead of dropping the prices to try to move people to make a decision, we find that the interest rate buy down is much more effective, because people don't really care if the price is, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 less. They care more about, hey, what's my payment going to be? So if the rate can help them get there, then that's a much more impactful play. Plus, it helps appraisals and all that good stuff. Okay, so another thing to know for in partnering with a good lender, and Guaranteed Affinity and Natasha in particular, is condo project review. So we do this as a no cost feature for our developers, and it could be a small condo developer doing 4 units. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it could be a huge mid-rise or high-rise building. And so what's the benefit of that? You as a realtor, assuming most folks on the call are realtors, if you've got a potential opportunity, or if you know of a builder that's doing a couple units, or a customer maybe is going into a building or looking at something, that builder may not have gotten their project approved yet, meaning they don't necessarily know what options that are out there for lenders to be able to do. So we could, some cases we can do we can review it through our condo team. Again, we don't charge for this. Some lenders do, or companies do. We'll run it, and we're based in Chicago. We understand condos, right? We do a lot of them. So we can say, hey, this project looks good. The condo docs and all the down and dirty details. We go through it. We give the builder suggestions as, hey, this could look a little different if you want to make sure that you open up the door to as many different loan options as possible. So then we'll provide those loan options to the builder and say, hey, we've got these 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 options that potentially we could help you get more buyers to be qualified for. And that's where Natasha comes in, and I will help Natasha. And then you can look like a superstar to the builder because you've made that introduction, hopefully maybe to us, because we'll get that done for you. So hopefully that makes some sense. And we like that condo stuff. Not all lenders do, right? They're scared of it. A lot of the banks, I'm not going to name names, but some of the banks or some lenders, they'll do it. They'll just jump in, and all of a sudden you might have a buyer, and all of a sudden they can't get the project approved. And then it's just like there's tears and there's anger, and it's not good. So best to do that up front. Okay, and just the next point here, builders want to partner with lenders and realtors that have the tools and the resources needed to create long-lasting relationships, and we just kind of talked about that. So knowing that we have all the products and programs that you could possibly want on a new construction, whether it's condo or single family, we're going to partner with that builder, make sure we help market, do advertising, make sure we're pre-qualifying those customers right away, all those good things. That's part of what a builder, they just want to know. They want to I use this term, it's a little harsh, but it's a throat to grab, right? They want to know when a loan is difficult, and let's say Natasha's got a particularly, challenged borrower that's, got some issues, but we're working through it. You like challenge people? We all have them. I mean, I was a challenged borrower at one point in my life, but the point is you get past some of that stuff and you get coached. You're like, okay, here I am, I'm ready to buy. And you get there, and that builder knows, wow, we got them, we got this borrower done. And now the builder looks at you like, wow, you brought, hey, thank you, Mr. or Miss Realtor, you brought in the right lender to do that. So we love the the builder relationships where we can kind of win them over by maybe getting a tough deal done or two. And then hopefully they're not all tough, right? But we want to have the ones that the builders appreciate and respect it. And then that means you get more business. Maybe you get the listings from that builder. So it all works together. So one of the things too, I know Natasha wanted me to talk about a little bit was the incentive plans that we offer as a lender to try to help customers lock in with the builder and with us, and by default through you as a realtor. So if you bring a buyer in, or we get a buyer pre-qualified on a project that we're on, whether it's a single family home builder or a condo builder, we'll go ahead and oftentimes we have a more aggressive pricing channel. And Natasha is part of this program, which we call our Premier Builder Pricing Program or Incentive Program, where we actually just for builders have better basically just call it what it is. It's less, we take less profit, both all the way around. So we're saying, hey, we want a relationship with that builder to be long term. So we're willing to take a haircut in order to make sure the buyer gets a really good rate and an incentive in many cases, like the one I'm showing you. This is one example. It's a builder this is a builder in Oregon of all places, or Washington State, I should say. But we do this very thing with a lot of different builders, where we'll say, hey, it's a $1,500 closing cost credit. Could be a little more, could be a little less, to try to tie that into, maybe this covers their lender fees, upfront fees. But the goal is to get them to call us, and then to get them to stick with us and with you all the way through the process and then to the end. So if the buyer knows, hey, I can get $1,500 and I'm going to get a good rate, then they're less likely to go shopping around on you. And because that's the worst, right? You're like, let's say you're building a house, even if it's a ready house now and it's going to close in 30 days, or it's one that's going to close in 9 months. The worst thing is, like, last minute, this customer starts shopping around 2 weeks before the closing because they think they're going to get a better rate. And this, when you do an incentive like this, we found that it helps the buyer not cause they don't feel like they have to shop around, So there's that. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And any questions you guys have, just pop in anytime.
And I'm going to chime in there on that incentive program and then just let you guys know. So what he's basically saying is that I'm basically taking a lower commission in exchange to build a relationship with you. And that is allowing a lower rate. I know a lot of you guys know me from the Bronzeville area, but I came up with this about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I was beating every lender on the market. And yes, I did make less commission on those, and you can only do that through this builder program, and you have to be signed up. I have to sign the builder up. They have to have a certain amount of projects in order to be on that preferred builder. So that's something that we work with your builder on, and I work directly with Jim on. But just so you know, it's a really big deal. And just so you guys know, people come to new construction for more reasons than just to buy the new construction. Sometimes they're renovators, right? You guys know I'm a 203K specialist. So sometimes they're coming in there to steal a tile idea or see what finishes they did and things like that. And I almost can tell. I'm like, hey, girl, you come in to get, what rehab you doing? Because I see you taking pictures. But with that being said, you can utilize this program for so many things. And, if you guys are in Orland or, any area where they're putting up new construction, put a hard hat on, go say hello, meet the builder, right? This may be something new, but guess what? A percentage of those people that walk in those doors, they're not coming to buy that property. They're just excited to see what it looks like for hope and planning in the future. So you can get a regular buyer for something else. You can get a buyer for this, and we can give them a lower interest rate on this and let them know what other programs we have available. So just letting you know, it's a really big deal. So don't be scared to add new construction to your Rolodex of marketing strategy and opportunities, because you will be amazed how untapped this market is. And that's your next slide.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good overview. And it's true. A lot of times I found, and I sold homes in my past, as I mentioned it, realtors sometimes were afraid of new construction, not afraid, but just like, sounds like it's going to be a hassle. I don't want to deal with builders, or they're going to try to cut me out of the thing, or just whatever. And the truth of the matter is, builders use realtors more than they ever did before, at least half of their transactions, if not more. And, they rely on the realtors to help, keep the borrower and the buyer sort of, on track, right? So builders are pretty solid. And by the way, new construction typically is pretty smooth when it closes. You don't have to worry about, inspections mostly, right? Like, the house is brand new, they're not going to come in at the last minute. Oh my gosh, the furnace needs to be replaced. Can you take that? You don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. So, okay, this is I wanted to throw this slide in here because this is a really cool a program that we have. Now, this is really designed for more your single family type homes, but it could be a townhouse too, a row home kind of thing. But we have the ability now to actually offer things that maybe the builder doesn't want to offer or doesn't offer, and include it in the mortgage. So I won't go into a whole lot of detail, but just generally, this is kind of one of those tools that we offer that other lenders don't. So let's say a customer wanted to throw in a really cool patio or deck on the back of the house. With builders like, look, I'm done with the house and it's for sale now, or we'll build you the house, but we don't really offer patios. We don't want to deal with it. Well, we can actually help. Or it could be an outdoor. Sometimes people are doing those cool outdoor kitchens now with like a really nice grill and brick, whatever. Or just could be a simple fence. The idea here is we can include those items into the borrower's mortgage and not have the builder have to worry about it. So it would be a separate fence contractor, separate deck contractor, that type of thing that would be completed as soon as the home closes. This is unique in that the buyer then doesn't have to come out of pocket with a check, right? So let's say they close like, oh, I really like this house, but I really can't afford to spend $5,000 or $10,000 to put this fence in to keep the kids and the dogs in or whatever. But I'd love to get it in, but I can't afford it to write a check. But I could, if we put it in my payment network, well, guess what? We can do that. So this is a really unique program, and we like to talk to builders about this because it shows them that we've got the ability to help them maybe sell a couple more homes. Good for you to know as a realtor, if you're talking to, again, a potential builder that you want to try to get in with as potentially their listing agent, and or just find out more so you can do a preview for a potential buyer that you have, that we can do stuff like this really can separate you from the pack. Okay, let's go to the next big one here. And then this will kind of be our last slide, Natasha, with respect to what we're seeing a lot of builders do. And I don't want to, you know, go like, yeah, he's kind of a lot of fine print there, but basically what this is, this program lets builders advertise a much lower rate than what the market is. So we had a builder, for example, that did this program, small builder. They did a 4.99% interest rate. Again, rates are like 6.8, whatever, right? 6.5 interest rate for 30-year fixed. So this is a straight fixed rate for 30 years, right? FHA. In this case, the builder bought this rate down. They can actually buy a block of money and they secure it with us, with Guaranteed Affinity. And then we help them market it, like create a flyer like this, do some social media, maybe get it on their website, and then get them to drive more people to their model homes so that because the buyers now, way more qualified buyers, right? All of a sudden you're basing that rate at 4.99 versus 6.8. That's, depending on the loan amount, that's hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month. That buyer now maybe can afford more home. So this is a super powerful tool. And then on top of it, I showed you this one because this is really cool. We can actually do a separate 1.0 buy down. So the start rate was 3.99%, first year only, and then years 2, 3, 4, all the way to 30 were the 4.99. So just another way to kind of make it an exciting approach. So I tell you this because
that's definitely exciting. They don't work. Cool? So y'all know it's no 3.99s available. So. But he just give you an example. It'll be lower than the market rate.
Yeah, this is way lower than market, right? So, and again, this is a cost that the builder would pay. And so that's Natasha and myself, we would work with the builder to help them understand how this works, set it up, all of that. And this could be just for a couple homes or it could be for a whole slew of homes. But just so you know, as a realtor, you know, knowing that if you see a builder that might be struggling, or they're just looking for a way to maybe, you know, pop out a couple houses in one area, they want to get to another one, or condos or whatever they are, we've got this tool. And if that's a way to open up the door for you to do more business with that builder, or if you're already working with that builder, and, you know, for us, obviously, it helps us do more business, but it's a great way because it locks us in to doing business with the builder, but it also, you know, would be if you're the preferred realtor, then, you know, we'll make sure you're included in this as well. So really kind of a cool thing, you know, we have all sorts, this is just a couple of the programs and products we have that builders are specifically asking for because they want to help. Biggest things I hear from builders are, how can you help me, you know, drive more people to the model homes, the spec homes, you know, whatever they are, or the neighborhood, the website, number one. And two, you know, what can you do to help me sell my houses that are already built and sitting? And that could be the house is almost ready and almost finished and it's like 30 days away, or could be, man, I built this house, it's been sitting for 6 months and I'm panicking. You know what I mean? It could be any extreme of the two. But as a realtor, it's good for you to know that these types of products are out there, I think, that you can try to maybe, you know, open up the door for, and we can help you convince the builder to do it.
Open up them doors.
So that was kind of it on that. You know, of course, you know, for me, I'm, you know, Tasha said I cover all the, you know, GR Companies is a big company. We've got a Guaranteed Rate Affinity, you know, home base here in Chicago. Natasha's a total pro. She knows her stuff. She understands how to talk to builders. She's brought me to builders, and we said I'm happy to get involved if there's a builder relationship that you know, I need to come visit and sit down with and try to help. And all, let's say it's you as a realtor, Natasha and myself, we all sit down and have a really nice conversation with the builder over lunch, or just come to their model or whatever. We're willing to do that and work with you on stuff.
Well, thank you, Jim. And guys, if you have any suggestions and things that you want to hear about on these calls, definitely let us know. Jim, we really appreciate you. I don't think it's realized that you have a real GOAT on the line. So if you have a builder, you know, and we need to schedule a meeting, you know, preferably, you know, they don't all have to be big builders, but, you know, we can always utilize Jim to jump on a Zoom or jump in a meeting to kind of you know, instead of you trying to sell our program, and I can sell my own program. So I can meet with the builder for you, and we can go over and we can bring value to them and let them know how the partnership will help them, because that's what everybody wants to hear about. How does it benefit them? And we can definitely do that for them. All right. So keep that in mind. And just so you guys know, just coming up, I don't even know how this happened, but March has been extremely crazy. So I am doing a Monday Mortgage Moves every Monday at 6 p.m. And then on Tuesdays, we do a lunch and loans, which is a higher level conversation for our agents. April is Financial Literacy Month. So there is a series, I know it's small print, but you guys should have received an email on this as well. And we're going to have a weekly seminar on financial literacy, from building generational wealth through estate planning, real estate, all things generational wealth building, right? We're going to have some really key professionals in the building. So check us out. You can scan the QR code on the green flyer. That is through my foundation, Building Dreams Foundation. But it is going to be a lot of individuals with a lot of things to tell you and talk about. And those events are free. In addition to that, if you guys didn't make the Black Friday Reverse, we had an event on Black Friday. It will be every Black Friday, and it is hosted by my foundation and Guaranteed Rate. Last year we had MC Light, but we're doing a monthly meetup. So this month is going to be talking about taxes, how to file your taxes, how to, get rebates on your taxes. No, myself, State Representative, and Ebony are not the speakers. We are going to have 3 accountants in the building that will go over everything, and that will be at the Royal Bistro Live in Lansing, Illinois. And we already talked about lunch and loans, where you guys are today. Emeka, I did see a message. I don't know if that was a thank you or if anyone has any questions, but you guys can scan the QR code to register for the classes. Emeka, did we have any questions? Yes, I do have. I personally have preferred builders that I work with. Majority of my builders are in that Bronzeville, North Kenwood area. Jim, I don't know if that was a question for you. If you have preferred builders, I'm sure you have a lot of builders that you work with.
Yeah. No, I think yeah. For you, I mean, you've kind of dialed into it, right? So some builders already. You're in the area. We do have a host of builders we work with, mostly in the burbs. That we've got, one is Lexington Homes out in the burbs, and in a little bit of Lennar, but I'd say for, in Natasha's world, I mean, you're dialed in. I would say you're a good contact for that.
Yep. And if you guys have any, like if you are working with a proper person and they're buying a home and you're walking in the door and their lender is smacking you in the face and you really want to stay with your lender, we can call the builder and we can create those same incentives. And it's a benefit for the builder because now he has more people pushing his property to sell, and the more the merrier. And everybody understands what it's like to keep your client, just like a builder wouldn't want to build a house and then the competition builds one across the street and they just run across the street and buy theirs. So I think when you're dealing with builders and business people, they understand business. They just want a lender that can really get the job done. And once I get in front of those builders, I can definitely show them that we can do that. And if any of you guys are up for a challenge and you have a builder and you want to pull up with a construction hat, some construction hat and heels, I'm gonna probably have on my little boots, but we can pull up and utilize that as a marketing strategy to grow your business in 2025. We could tackle this together. So I have no problem, getting the boots up and running and knocking down some doors to get some relationships as well. And if you guys, go ahead, Jim.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just gonna say, if some builders will throw out there just to kind of think, just made me think a little bit, like they'll say they have an incentive. Like, oh, we already have an incentive working with XYZ lender. Sometimes we're in the room and we're already doing that, right? But a way to maybe, if you want to use Natasha, or, basically it's like, hey, you already got pre-approved, and it's like a lot of times we can match that incentive that the builder's offering, just so or the other builder's lender is offering. So don't necessarily feel pressured to have to use that lender's incentive, right? Or that builder's lender. We usually, and because to Natasha's point, we know what we're doing. We're willing to get, our hands dirty on this stuff. They're going to know, either they're already going to know who we are. I'm sure they're going to know who we are, but we can convince them because we know our stuff. So just know that going in, we've got the tools.
We got the tools, and we know what the other person is talking about, so we can kind of make it happen for them just the same way. We just need you guys to introduce us to the builders, so that way we can put the programs in play, so that way you can get those deals. So, did we have any more questions, Emeka? Awesome. Well, if you guys are not following me, you can follow me at Loans by Natasha. Tune in to all of the things that we have available this year. I'm going live in 2025. This is the first time I have done this in my 20-year. I would say I've been a full-time loan officer for about 8 years, but this is the first time I've ever done this. I am Loans by Natasha, MLS number 332074. Thank you, Jim, for joining us. Yeah. I know you have another meeting right after this, and I will see you guys next Tuesday.
It was awesome. Thanks, Natasha. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. See ya. Bye-bye.